If I took the security thing off my camera. Good afternoon, guys. It's Sunday. We have another live under our belts, and it is definitely October. We have wonderful pigtails today because I woke up this morning to high humidity and rain. Cooler temperatures, which is really nice, but it's a bit rainy and overcast, and I loves it. I'm so happy. Hello, Nikki. So good to see you today. Got everybody wandering in. Hi, Jen. So I am thoroughly enjoying my rainy day, which means I went outside for a walk in the rain. Why? Because I like rain. I like rain. I like snow. I like cold. I like wet. I like damp. I live in the wrong chunk of my country. I am aware. Hi, Sandy. Whoops! Goodness gracious. You are right. It is for Canada Turkey weekend. Just cloudy for you, Jen? We had rain this morning. It's pretty much done now. More overcast, but I got outside while it was raining first thing this morning. Hi, Asa. It is Turkey weekend for Canadians here. So for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you are having a lovely weekend. For those of you who aren't celebrating Thanksgiving or think the rest of us have absolutely gone off our rockers, hey, it's a Sunday. Let's do a podcast. I made tea, but it was like super, feels like 45 seconds ago. So I want to reach for it, but I know that it's too hot to drink yet. I forgot to blow my nose before we started. I'm going to blow my nose and then we can get going. So my Discord and everything's been full of happy Thanksgiving messages for me today. Oh, my nose. Allergies don't stop just because it's raining. Let me tell you. I don't, faith-wise, Thanksgiving isn't a holiday for me. I would do a dinner if I had my family, but we don't get together. So, yeah, it's for me, Thanksgiving's not a thing. So I just made myself a nice dinner because it's the weekend and I make myself nice dinners. We don't really super celebrate in my family for Thanksgiving, so it's a thing. So it's fine. No turkey in this house. I can't afford turkey. That's not on the menu for me. I made a vegan roast beef for the weekend. It's a vegan pot pie situation. Mushrooms, lentils, sweet potatoes in a loaf pan surrounded by puff pastry, topped with cranberry sauce. Yes, it's all homemade because it's me, so it's got to be homemade. Otherwise, I can't eat it. And then I just baked it off, and then I slice it up and eat it. So it's just a fancy dinner, but honestly, I make it fairly often in the winter, and that's just the nature of me because I like soup, stews, and loaves, like seed and nut loaves. So fake meatloafs essentially, and then soups and stews. But that's normal for me this time of year when the weather's appropriate for it, and it looks like we're going to be stuck in finally seasonally appropriate weather, so that's good. So I can get going on that. However, I do have a big holiday coming up towards the end of the month. Everybody else calls it Halloween. Totally works for me. And I know the Day of the Dead's coming quickly too. We are halfway through the month essentially, or at what, a day or two from halfway through the month. We've got, as usual, a bunch of odds and ends to cover today. I started a crochet sweater. I worked on some pattern work this week. I didn't fall behind on squares, but I didn't make up any difference in squares. And of course, we have the pumpkin sweater, the Halloween sweater, and the Brio Ripple or the Stephen West shawl to talk about. So, I don't even know where to start. Let us go with squares. Let's get the squares out of the way first. I've continued the process of having just a stack of squares sitting at my computer desk. It's great. It's fine. I have a ball of DK weight yarn from Erin of Fireweed Fiber Co. Last week I made 4 squares. I can do about 4 squares an hour. The smaller solid squares take me longer. I'm not as used to them, so I always end up ripping back like half a row because I start doing a traditional granny square. So the cluster 3 and then the space instead of the solid ones, which don't have the space in between. You get the idea. We've worked on some of it, so like some of this ball of crocheted yarn firewood fiberco yarn has gotten smaller, but we did do a couple days worth this week. I got through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I got my stack. And again, I'm just, whenever I've got downtime or I'm waiting to export a video or something, I work on these little solid granny squares. It is a part of the granny square challenge for me this year because I'm putting in time to make blankets, and blankets take time. So I need 720-ish of these little 3-round solid granny squares, and then I can assemble. So we are a hot minute from assembly. I'm either holding 2 strands of fingering held double or 1 strand of DK for a DK weight blanket. And we're just taking our time and getting it done. I am painfully slow at the solid squares, and that's okay. It happens. No one's going to die, right? I did get a little bit of progress on my big square. I'm working on square number 5. As you guys know, I've got 4 large regular granny squares done. I'm sorry, Phaedra was aggressively helping me this week, and my yarn is just so tangled because of it. So I got a couple more rows done, or rounds done on this, but I don't have the 5th square finished yet. I was hoping to get the 5th square finished last night, and then I aggressively hugged my bed for like 10 hours. So apparently I was very tired and my eyes were very done with my butt, and demanded the rest. So the rest we took. However, that doesn't mean I gotta try to get it done today if I can. I'd like to be into square 6 before I travel, and I do leave town on Thursday this week. So I got a couple of days. So I got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get this done and get square 6 started. This is a scrap yarn project. As we know, I have a lot of yarn. I have a lot of yarn. And to help reduce the stash, I'm trying to use up my odds and ends and bits and bobs and things where I used a small chunk of a cake, but not the whole cake. So we are currently working through these 2 fingering weights held double. This, as well as the solid squares, are being done on a 4mm crochet hook. So I'm going to wrap this up because Phaedra was helping me so aggressively this week, you guys. She was being the most helpful cat of all catness. I don't know what to do with her. Sometimes we still cat a lot, even though we're like 8 now. We're 9 as of this month. So this month, next month. So we're still very much like we're 4, not like we're almost 10. Speaking of monsters, here she is. Hello. Are you gonna lie down? You gonna chill, or are you gonna have no chill today? Because you've had no chill a lot this week, babe. No, you have to eat your kibble. Mommy loves you, but you need to eat your kibble, bug. Kibble. Kittens eat kibble. Kittens eat kibble. No, you don't believe me? Okay, cool. In reference to Phaedra and assistance, this is the second time I've casted on the Stephen West Brio Ripple Wrap. If you guys watched the video I posted earlier this month, I wanted to semi-participate in the MCAL this year. I wanted to do something that didn't necessarily include me trying to keep up with a mystery, like a make-along, and potentially have to adapt terminology at the same time to make something that would work for my vision restrictions. So I decided to do something adjacent, and I would do like a sort of cheerleading project, and I would work on a Stephen West shawl that I already had in my collection. Don't get me wrong, I will own the Musical shawl at some point. I will buy it and then go from there. I had more rows. I had a whole repeat section done. And then I did a dumb human thing, and I left this on top of the never-ending Summer Adventures shawl, the triangle version I'm working on, and I'm into the Holst yarn, and I have a very sheepy yarn. all over for that shawl. And I forget just how much the tiny dictator loves a sheepy yarn. So to get to the sheepy yarn, she knocked everything everywhere, knocked some stitches off, and as soon as you drop stitches in a fingering weight shawl, I have to rip and start again. I cannot pick up those stitches. So between that, had some mistakes that I'd made and how I wasn't particularly happy with my pickup for the I-cord edging that I'd initially done, I ripped it. It's fine. It was only about 3 or 4 hours of work, so it's really not that big of a deal to redo for me. However, I have decided to, instead of doing the I-cord cast on for this shawl, I'm just going to do the I-cord on the sides and the bind off, and then I'm going to come back to the start of the shawl and I will do a pickup and I will do an I-cord edge bind off, applied bind off at the end. It does make for a bit more work to finish off the shawl, but the idea of doing this many stitches on fingering weight yarn in an I-cord cast on again just made all parts of my body say no. And I was like, no. I don't mind picking up and doing an I-cord bind off. I know it's a bit slow, it's a bit tedious, but it's not, to me, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not the most difficult bind off I've ever had to do. Peacoat takes longer. Peacoat takes longer for my brain. However, I can't say the same in reverse. An I-cord cast on consumes a lot of time. So I have a cast on edge and 1 knit row. I'm ready to reconnect and start in with my contrast color for the Brio Ripple Wrap and to continue my way on there. I am using a 4mm instead of 4.25mm needle as recommended in Stephen West, so this will be a slightly denser shawl than what he's got on his samples and pieces for everybody, simply because I don't have a 4.5mm needle, which is what I would traditionally go up a needle size because I knit kind of tight, and I don't have a 4.25mm needle. What I do have is a 4mm needle, and he's looking for a gauge of about 20 stitches over 4 inches, and that's about what I tend to get, 20 stitches over 4 inches on a 4mm. So in fingering held on its own. So we're going with it, and we're doing the best we can. And I have so punched the microphone so much today. Holy snickerdoodles. This is my first color. It's my main color. It is called Holly in the Snow. It is white with speckles of red and green. Unshockingly to everybody here, I have to move my microphone as I don't get in my face. I am using Aran, a fireweed Fabrico yarn. There's a whole video where I go over the different yarns that I'm using for the project. My accent color is Black Emerald, and my contrast color is some beautiful blue, I think it's called Frozen, from Manos de Uruguay, and it's in their lace weight. So the lace weight will be taking the place of the mohair sections. Holy snickerdoodles. Deidre, I had to blow my nose all day. I get online, all I have to do is blow my nose. Woof. What do I know? All right. Do we want to go pumpkins or spiders or pattern design work? What are we feeling next? Do we know what we're feeling next? I don't know what I'm feeling next. Can I drink my tea yet? Nope, it's still too hot. Can't touch it. Fine. What do I know? I want to drink my tea, but it's too hot. How's everyone's Sunday going? How did your crafting week go? Did we all get some stuff done this week that we wanted to get done? I think we shall talk Endless Summer Adventures next, if I can manage to grab the shawl and get it organized here. We'll save the pumpkins and the spiders for last. I think we'll do that. Maybe I can get organized here. Maybe I can't get organized here. Oh, just yarn everywhere. I forget she loves sheepy yarns. And I forget just how aggressively she'll love a sheepy yarn. Fair, I too also love a sheepy yarn. Not so much when I'm literally trying to craft with it. So there's that. But there you go. I think so. I think we're all organized. Ish. Organized-ish. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Oh, phone, what do you want now? Things asking for my attention all the time. I don't want to give you my attention. I'm not in the mood. All right. My phone updated, so now it's like, let's do all the update things. I'm like, how do I? No. Can we vote no? I forgot to do the checks to make sure things were doing stuff. Okay, we're doing stuff. Excellent. Stuff is happening. We should have a quiet chat today. That's fine. Everybody's probably doing stuff. Holstgarn. This is 2 purples of a 4 purple set that I was gifted a couple of years ago now. Let's see, got some purples going on here. My brain we knew that Holstgarn was a light fingering, almost lace weight yarn. I knew this about Holstgarn. I'd seen it. I've seen the yarn. I've seen how thin. Well, I felt how thin the yarn is. So like I knew this was a thing. I still didn't fully connect to that. Meant that I might have to hold 2 strands of the Holst together to get to the fingering weight or sock weight, so like a slightly heavy fingering weight that I had on the needles in the gray. What, the gray heather that I was not heather. What's the other one? There's heather tweed, the gray tweed I was working in. Unshockingly, I have to hold 2 strands together to get the same, almost the same. We're slightly thicker than the gray tweed, but I did do a lot of work on my Endless Summer Adventures triangle version shawl this week. I'd like to get it done. Now that we've hit fall, I'm feeling the urge to make shawls and do sweaters, and I don't want to crochet as much as I do in the summer. It is quiet in the chat today, Elsa. You are correct. Also, you were up very late watching me stream. I'm surprised you didn't take a nap this afternoon. I was glad that you were there. Yesterday's stream was a bunch of fun, chaotic mess, and I was thoroughly enjoyable and very different than anything else I've tried with streaming before. So that was super fun and delightful, and a lot more than I thought it was going to be. All right. The Endless Summer Adventure Shawl. We are out of the gray. I know. It had to happen at some point. Our rows are very long. We're very, very long. We're very, very big. We're into the tail end of the shawl, and it's a top-down triangle shawl. So at this point, the rows, they're getting beefy. They're getting beefy. But as you can tell from my progress keeper, I made a solid, 3-4 inches of progress. We're into the reverse section. So we've got the main body, or the first section is a lot of garter and just a little bit of eyelet lace. And then the second half or bottom third of the shawl, depending on how big you make the shawl, is a lot of eyelet lace and a little bit of garter. So it's called the big switch. I have made many, 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 many DK weight asymmetrical Endless Summer Adventures. They are an amazingly quick and wonderful shawl to make. It is a beginner-friendly pattern. It is one of my patterns. But I wanted a triangle version. So we're working on the triangle version right now. I am happy I'm in the Holst. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the bloom. I do need to bloom in this as well, too. So this tweed I've worked in before, it also blooms like crazy. So I opted to hold double because I know how much this blooms. And the little test sample I did on this one bloomed nicely. It wasn't an aggressive bloom, but it did bloom nicely. So I am making my way through the purple section now, which is good. How big it'll be, I'm not sure yet when I'm going to finish this one. I have the instructions written up for the pattern for this, and they have the variabilities built in for people, so you can make it slightly smaller or slightly larger. Tassels, no tassels, depending on what your preferences are. But we are a lot of stitches on the needles. I am easily over 300 stitches a row right now. I'm easily over 300 stitches a row. But as you can see, we're making some progress. Then we've got that nice color switch going on. I know it's hard to tell because, well, it's a camera, right? Like you guys can't touch and feel this the same way I can. Is we are just about the same thickness as this one strand of gray. Just about, not quite. So I'm hoping when we bloom fairly consistently, but if my purple or my Holst ends up being a little bit thicker after the bloom, it'll be fine. Like it's not going to cause that big of a problem for me. So, yeah. You have a sweater in single strand? I think it'd be lovely in single strand. I am thoroughly enjoying knitting in the Holst. I don't love that the shawl is big enough now that Phaedra tries to crawl into my lap to lie on top of it while I'm working on it because she likes the sheepy of the gray tweed and she loves Holst, we've discovered. We are huge fans. We lie on the balls of yarn. We generously attack other projects if they're near it so we can sleep on this. There's so much cat hair in the shawl. It is ridiculous. However, I am excited that I got to experiment with Holst. I quite like it, and I think I will absolutely take a look at getting more Holst in the future. I thoroughly enjoy the yarn. So see, Dongle Tweed, that's the gray yarn. See, come to me eventually. Whoops, I got stuff everywhere going. I got so much shit going on. So I'm gonna keep puttering away at this. It's just that time of year when I want to pick up shawls again. So I'd like to get this done so I can get it published early next year for everybody, or late this year. Sometimes publish things when I'm finished with them, and we will go from there. But I'm excited. I'm happy with the color contrast. I'm happy with how the purple is working up. I'm enjoying knitting in Holst, and I am enjoying the progress. I'm not enjoying the length of the rows, but that's normal. I don't. I love a triangle top-down shawl. I hate how long the rows get towards the end of the shawl, and I've reached that point where I'm getting towards the end of the shawl. So I have 2 more skeins of purple Holst that I can use to continue to make this. And we all know me. I'm obviously making the very big dramatic version because, of course, I'm making the very big dramatic version. That's just how I roll, and that's what I like. Will I have tassels on mine? Obviously. Do you need to have tassels on yours? Obviously not. Super unnecessary. But I am very happy with how this is progressing. Whew. Oh, it's Nikki. I like the Holst yarn. I'd like to try some of the other Holst. This is the super soft. I've heard good things about the tides and stuff, but I want to try more of the Holst line. So it's definitely in that sort of like wish list category that at some point I'll get some more Holst. I'm going to be more careful about the Holst because now that we've tried a sample and we know that we like it, we'll try to save up to just get a sweater quantity in one color and go from there because I definitely need to be making more garments and be more garment focused this upcoming year. So it's just the way to do it through. Tides is on Holst tides is something I'd like to try. But Jen, you're casting on. Absolutely. If you've done a lot of finishes, Jen, go ahead and have fun with your new cast on. I know you like to finish things and keep your project pile small. I have a mountain range of a project pile, and that's my happy place. What's the jaunty shawl? I'm intrigued. I might have to go look that up. Guys, Jen has really good tastes and patterns. Jen has good tastes and patterns. So whenever she's like, I've casted on a thing, I go look it up right away. Because I was like, sometimes I really like your stuff, and sometimes I really like your stuff, and I want to cast it on. All right, let's talk about the other thing. The last thing I can talk about. I can't talk about my Advent stuff because it's entirely possible also that I do have some tides in the collection, and I just don't know it yet. I remember the Holst in the 4-pack because it came in a 4-pack. And it is purple, which I'm just inclined to remember more than anything else anyway because of the love of red and purple that I have. It's a thing. It's a new Andrea? Okay. I'll have to check that out. Sometimes I like Andrea Mallory stuff. Sometimes I look at it and I go, it's just not for me. Like, it's cute, but it's not for me. But I'll absolutely take a look at it. Was that still kind of too hot to drink? Yep. Did I drink it anyway? You betcha. If it wasn't an Advent... Yeah, it'll be somewhere in the collection at this point now. I can go take a look. I've gotten a lot of fun, lovely yarns that I don't generally have massive access to in Canada from Asa, you guys. She's good. She keeps me in the fun stuff, which is delightful. And I'm always trying new things, which I really, really like. I think there's that DK weight sock yarn you just sent recently for me. I really think that should turn into a pair of like house, like big fluffy ankle-y socks. Like scrunchy ankle socks to like putter around first thing in the morning with before I do my yoga in the morning. because some mornings my very, very damaged left foot is very, very, very temperature sensitive. Sometimes she needs a sock, and I will walk around with one sock on one foot for her. But I would very much thinking a matched pair of like house slippery sock situations, probably slightly less wrapper vibes than one sock on my leg. It's fine. Well, I will figure out something for it. Oh, I got some turquoise tights. Okay, I don't have my stash on Ravelry, Elsa. Could you imagine? um, did I release the stash video? Guys, I am so tired. I am trying to prep to travel on Wednesday. Nope, sorry, Thursday. I'm trying to make sure that you guys have videos while I'm gone. So I've been pre-filming some videos, which adds extra editing, and I have the stream that I do during the week, so I have those videos that also get edited. So like right now I am knee deep in time warping, and I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. I just go by my Google Calendar, and I have trust in past me to put the important things, like it's Sunday, you have to podcast, into my schedule. After that, I don't know. I got bread in the oven doing its last chunk of rise before I turn on the oven and bake it off. That's what I know. I'm going to have whipped tofu, fresh bread, and crunchy lentils for lunch, and that's not going to happen for like another hour and a half still. So that is where my head is at, and I have tons of video editing to do. All right, because I got to talk about Advent crafting work because one of my Advent partners is in chat. We're going to talk about the last thing that I started that oh my god desperately needs a wash and a block. I am not washing and blocking these till I get home. Is the stash video out? Okay, then everybody is painfully aware of how much yarn I have right now. I wanted to start a spider web sweater. I loved the idea of a spider web sweater, but I wanted to make something that would be not terribly hard in my brain pan and work quite easily at larger sizes. So I started working out, and I worked through a couple prototypes this week on crochet on a bulky, and I gave it a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook on a bulky yarn, so it's quite dense and quite snug, because crocheted spider webs are essentially long chunks of chains. So I made a couple, and what I liked the best was this guy here. So it's not blocked, so we're not truly rectangular yet. But we got a couple of rounds of our circle increases for our web style, and then we've cornered it out into essentially a rectangle shape. The rectangle shape is going to give us, once I've washed and blocked it, is going to give us solid numbers to work from. So this way we can make a cardigan, and we can use these blocks as our number templates for size ratios. So I can grade out a pattern relatively easily. I'm not going to know how much yarn I'm using, obviously, until I'm done my size, and I can weigh the finished cardigan to find out how many grams I have for a finished one, which just takes time. But I am enjoying how I can't, like, it's big enough I can't, because it's bulky, right? So like it's big enough I can't even stretch it out properly for you guys in one go. But I like how the web has turned out. I want to tilt this a little bit so you guys get it better. And I think this will look really cute. So it's basically going to be blocks of small spider webs that you'll seam together to make a sort of granny style-esque spider web cardigan, which is good, because then we can write in instructions. So if you need like a little bit of a size differential, so if you're not like one size but you're not quite the other, we can talk about adding just a couple of single crochet rows in here or double crochet rows in here down like side seams, so that we can get a lot of really personalized fits for everybody, which is always the preference. We can talk about sleeve sizing and stuff. So I'm going to make this one probably elbow sleeve length, so I can have a nice drapey elbow sleeve situation going on. I think that's what I want to do for mine. And we can have a nice clean neckline border with just like a nice couple single crochet rows, so we don't have a great big shawl color situation going on. Why? Because October isn't actually cold here. We get cooler. We're not cold yet for Canada. So I wanted to have something that would help bridge that gap. Bulky because it works up nice and quick, and because when you're doing it on a nice tight gauge, you'll get something that will not just immediately flop over, even though the bulk of it is literally chain stitches and double crochets. So I have made 1 square, 2 square, 3 squares, 3 squares. Technically, they're rectangles when they're done. They end up being rectangly when they're done. I have 3 rectangles. Let's call them what they are. I have 3 rectangles. So I need to make a bunch more. For 3 rectangles does not a cardigan make. I am hoping to have the last of the squares done before I leave Thursday morning. That's a lot of work for me. I have a rough idea because I've obviously roughly blocked it out. I'm going to block one out after today and get my final measurements so I know exactly how many I need for me. Then I'm going to get them made and washed and blocked, and I'm just going to leave them in the apartment while I'm gone for the week on the blocking mats because it won't harm them any. And when I come home, I can do the assembly part and the neckline bits, right? So we have to finish the bulk of this before we leave, and then when we come home, we can finish it up. So there we go. My version of a spiderweb cardigan is underway. I liked the full-on spiderweb where it was just the spiderweb look, but when you got up to my size, the chains were too long. So there was no structure in between. So you would have had to have gone in and done a lot of attaching and making diagonal chains in between your gap spaces to hold your structure together. And then the end weaving in started to rack up a real crook in my brain for that. And I don't enjoy weaving in ends. I'll do it. It's fine. It's not my favorite task. It's not my most hated task. We all know that's ribbon. But I was like, no, people are gonna look at that and they're gonna go, that's way too much end weaving in, and that's a justifiable thing. So I went this route instead, because then you can weave in your ends as you go by crocheting them in, and then you have next to no ends. Have I done that so far? No, all of my middle ends are still sticking up, and I gotta deal with those. Easily solved if I had crocheted this in as I went. I did not do so, so future me is gonna be grumpy. What you gonna do about it? It does help me use up more of that Bernat blanket bulky red that I pulled out because this had initially already been a finished project that I was never wearing. I don't regret pulling out that finished project because the yarn has proved very good. It did make a couple of items. That's got a pair of mittens to make for my sister for Christmas still, so I need to do that as well. Am I worried? No, guys, I have so much of that yarn still. I got enough of that red bulky yarn to make a knee-length trench coat in crochet in my size. I'm so not worried about yardage. I'm so not worried about yardage. I have so much. My sister's mittens won't take that much yardage. A, they're knit. B, my sister's hands are smaller than mine. So that's the thing. What I need to do is go buy the fleece to line the hat with and line the mittens with, and start by cutting out the mittens and the fleece so then I can knit the mitten to go over the fleece so that I'm not jipping myself space. So otherwise, I'll knit the mittens, and if I have the fleece cut to fit the hand, but I've made the mitten a bit too snug to have the fleece on the inside, it's an unusable mitten. It's an unusable mitten, and that's not cool. So I need to get the fleece to cut out the mitten shape, and then I'll just sew the mitten, and then I will knit the overlay for it. Hat, I'm not as worried about because the hat fits my head, and my sister's head's a bit smaller than mine, so I can fleece line it, and that's fine. However, hands are a bit more particular because her hand's just as long as my hand is, but to make her mittens, they have to be quite snug on me. So I want to make the fleece lining first because that's going to change the ratios a little bit for the knitted mitten. You do what you do, right? Oh, it's 16 degrees Celsius, my computer tells me. That's still really warm for October. Oof, okay. But that's it. That's what I can show and talk to you guys about this week. That's all my stuffs. That's all my stuffs. We've got this all done up. Whoops, maybe. I have to make at least 9 more of these squares, I think. Minimum. Wow, I gotta get crack-a-lackin'. I'm gonna be making squares after this today, guys, while I edit more videos. Thankfully, they're all filmed now. I just need to edit a lot. edit a lot. The monster goes to visit her most hated residence for a week. She's being picked up on Tuesday, and then I'll have a day to myself on the Wednesday, and then I'm gone on Thursday. I will be doing the live next Sunday. It'll be at my mom's house. Well, obviously, my mom and my dad's house. I say my mom's house. I don't know where we're going to find a space for me. It's going to be extra noise because it's a pretty full house. That's fine. Next Saturday, I am in Regina for a knitting show. I asked Erin for the name of it. She told it to me, and now I can't recall what she said. It's the knitting show in Regina next Saturday. I don't remember. Oh, I have another project I can talk about. Totally lied. Guys, we haven't talked about the Halloween sweater yet. Jeez. Things that are happening. Because I am traveling and set up, and Louise's schedule is crazy, we're also doing the check-in to the mid-month motivation Sunday evening, so it's a double live Sunday for me. That should be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But again, I will be at my mom's, so we'll see how it goes, because I've never done a live from my phone at my mom's house. I've called into Zooms on my phone and done stuff with Louise, but the podcast live will be interesting. We will figure it out. I'm excited for Regina. It should be fun. Ooh, am I in the middle of a row? Of course I'm in the middle of a row. My God. Who am I in the middle of a row? Terrible. I have a story about color work. Asa had to help me with the color work. Well, Asa and Erin helped me with the color work. We were watching the paid Patreon members, obviously get into the Discord, and that's where we do a lot of craft chat and talking in there, which makes sense. But there's also the monthly movie day. It tends to be on a Saturday. It tends to be about noon my time on Saturdays. And we were going to watch Hocus Pocus. Now, I mean, we put up a poll I put up a poll about a day or so in advance, and I give everybody the options for the month, and we vote, and whatever vote wins, that's the movie we watch. Am I shocked Hocus Pocus won in October? No. Was I happy for Hocus Pocus to win in October? Absolutely. It is a delight. I love rewatching that movie at least once this time of year, so I was super happy that it had won. I was going to work on my Halloween sweater. You guys know Cheryl talked a bunch of people into doing a Halloween sweater, and then wasn't going to do a Halloween sweater, and now she is doing a Halloween sweater, and Louise is doing a Halloween sweater. So the Fiber Friends Halloween theme for the month has absolutely been fulfilled. If you're doing Imagine Landscapes Mystery Gnome Along, that's happening, which is also Halloween themed. There's Oktoberfest, which is an Instagram vest knit along that's running till the end of October. It started in September. I have looked at the Talia vest, and that's the one I want, and right now the lace is a bit beyond me, so I've had to set it aside. But like all good enabling, my brain went, of course I could do a Halloween sweater. And I was going to stick to DK weight yarn. I had DK weight yarn. I could do a DK weight yarn sweater. Wasn't going to be a problem. And I can knit DK weight pretty quick. I have ended up with color work and a fingering, and that's not even remotely what I thought I was going to start off with. Cool. It's fine. We got here. We're going to make it work. I got it casted on. I got it started. And my sweater is the fall collection sweater by Bad Wolf Girl Designs. It's Tilly. No, it's not Tilly Knits. Tilly Knits does the Halloween cows. Totally fine. I got my two colors. I've got my Poison, which is the dark green, and then I've got my Slutty Pumpkin, which is the orange colorway. Not from Erin of Fireweed Fiber Co. The Poison is from Smiling Sheep, which is a Canadian indie yarn couple. It's a mom and a daughter team. They're terribly adorable. And then the Slutty Pumpkin is from Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarns, who is American. And I got started, and yes, I did a swatch. I did the math. We know what size we have to make. I cast on. I did the ribbing. I got down to the color work. I was getting ready to do the color work charts, and then I realized they had increases marked. So I thought I knew where the increases were marked in the charts, but they used a yellow highlighter line to indicate where the increases were happening. So I just like, hey, can I share my screen with someone, show you guys the color work chart, and can you confirm by telling me what numbers you see and see if they match the numbers my brain thinks they should be. Turns out that is correct. The numbers at which I think I should be doing my increases are in fact where I should be doing my increases. Did I get very far in it? No, I went from Hocus Pocus to streaming for 4 hours, and then I had additional work to do after that. So I did not get as far into the charts as I wanted to. I'm just about 2 rows shy of the first increase, and I'm in the middle of a row, so that looks great. So of course I am. But we've got just the first peaks of some pumpkin orange going on in here. However, we've done well. I do have a hole somewhere in here where I just have a random extra yarn over, which is not uncommon for me when I'm doing circular yolks. I don't know what it is about a circular yoke that I occasionally just have a yarn over hole for no reason. I will go back in once I'm done the sweater and I just sew the hole up and I make it go away then. I'm not worried about it right now. I will use some spare yarn when it's finished and get it repaired. But we have officially started the colorwork charts. What I have to do is be careful now because I will settle into colorwork chart knitting and I won't do anything else, which isn't terrible when you've got the time to do it. I not so much with the time to do it. However, I really love colorwork charts. So if I leave the Brio Ripple Wrap till I get to my mom's house to continue working on and spend the first few days working on this and getting as much granny square work done as possible, I can then leave the granny square. Like I can just have the new square to take with me to my mom's. And I can be through the colorwork charts by Thursday morning. Because that is just how fast I do color work. For me, color work is the potato chip knitting of my life. I will always choose to do color work. I love color work. I find it meditative. I like counting the numbers, and when the chart's readable, I'm a happy camper. The charts are readable. The chart I chose was the Pumpkin chart. It's green and it's got pumpkin as the secondary color work color. I had to pick the pumpkin one. So we're doing the pumpkin one, and I am very happy. I'd like to be ideally super like into the body by the time I get into the car Thursday morning, but if I'm honest, I'll probably have just split for sleeves. Which is fine. This is being done on a 4mm Chow Gu needle. Chow. Guys, I need to go make lunch and eat some food. Jeez. Breakfast was way too long ago. I have a spare set of shorter circular 4mm needles that I can use to stick and put the sleeves onto, which is great because the 4mm size is also the size I'm working on for the wood woes, which I might just take with me as my backup project for when I need to take a break from one project, and even just changing the project I'm working on helps with my focus because I'm not taking the spiderweb sweater. I'm not taking the mallow because I need to start working on the back panel, and that's lace, and I don't want to take my charts with me because my dad printed charts way back when I got the mallow pattern the first time, and like they're on like printer graph paper for like architectural designs. So they're huge. They're very large pieces of paper, and I do not wish to travel with very large pieces of paper. I tend to use the computer charts now more than anything else, so I know I need to keep in mind what I'm taking with me and what I'm not taking with me. And for sure, the Halloween sweater's going with me. I need the colorwork charts done. I obviously can't tell you about any secret crafting or advent crafting, so if that comes or that doesn't come, that's not stuff I can talk about since that's all stuff you gotta find out about later. So I might take the Halloween sweater, the Wood Woes sweater, which is fingering weight on 4mm, and it's a basic raglan sweater, and a sock with me to be the knitting stuff I work on, both in the car, at my mom's, in Regina, and on the way home. Brio Ripple Wrap, obviously that's going with me as well too, but I need some time to get everything established for the patterns for that again. Because of course I do. Once it's established, I know that Brio Ripple Wrap's going to flow pretty quickly, so I'm less worried about that one. Hey, Jude. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Jude, it is very easy to forget Sundays happen. I'm not tracking time very well, so I got home at like 11:30. My hair's still in my walking pigtails, and I was like, nope, that's just how it's going to be today. It's fine. I'm glad you made it in. But I think that's going to be my plan. So I hope everyone wants to hear about the Brio Ripple Wrap, the Halloween sweater, the Woodrose sweater, and a sock next week, plus whatever I probably end up really enjoying want to talk about from the fiber, you know, you know, yarn show, whatever trouble I get into there. And as always, the Granny Square, because the Granny Square, it's a thing. But that's it, guys. That's all I've got. That's the whole kit and caboodle. I've got lots of work on my plate till I'm on vacation, and then when I'm back home from vacation, I'll obviously have work to do. But I'm on track to have a clean apartment when I leave, which means I'll have a clean apartment when I come home. The monster goes off to my sister's on Tuesday. She won't be happy. There's puppies in that house, but that's okay. My sister's there to torture her, or all will be well. We had a drive-by Jude sighting, so I think that does us done. I hope you guys have some crafting plans for the week that are enjoyable, or some good holiday, seasonally themed things. Maybe we're doing a spooky thing this week. Maybe you're discovering that you have to go buy an obscene number of apples to make things like apple turnovers and crisps and stuff for your freezer. I'm not sure. Maybe you decided to try apple cider making this year. Why do I say that? Because I've got a friend, and him and his brothers make apple cider, and they always bring me a nice bottle of it, which is good. I'm excited for that. Oh, tea. I have bread proofing in the oven, so I'm going to go check on my loaf. See if we're ready to turn the oven on so I can like bake that off. And I'm going to say until the next week, I'm Jocelyn. This is the Northern Knits podcast, you guys. And no matter where your week takes you, don't forget to craft. Maybe. Where's the button that says end? There it is.